Recording started. Let's go live. And we're live here on Facebook. I'd like to welcome those listening in podcast land. And also, my buddy Rich. Rich, how you doing this week? That's funny. I have a 2-day work week. 2-day. Wednesday's a day off. So a mandatory fun day. That ain't bad. Rich, it's been a rough week up here. We got sicknesses going on, and we got people getting better. But yeah, it's been a long week up here. But we are ready to face a short week and then make some travel plans. So yeah, we're excited. But first, we had a show to do. In that show, we're going to talk about a ton about NFL stuff this week, as we have a whole lot of talk about power rankings, our picks of the week, and also, man, we have a full slate of games this week, and I forgot to ask. We didn't pick it. Are we gonna add the Black Friday game as a pick of the week? So you're hoping for a Friday show. Okay. Rich, what else do we got this week? Yeah, Sunday morning, yeah. We gotta roll the intro.
Broadcasting live from somewhere in Iowa. This is Balls and Sticks, the podcast, with your hosts, Mike and Rich.
And we're back. Okay, Rich, before we get into sports this week, we got to talk cornflakes versus Cheerios in our poll question. Yeah, I mean, so did I. Okay.
Because I don't think I've ever had like that hankering or like the wanted just to eat cornflakes just by themselves. I've always thought of cornflakes as an addition to a meal, not something that I'd want to eat by itself.
Well, and cornflakes, you gotta, if you eat it as a cereal, don't you just put like a spoonful of sugar on it to make it edible?
I think so, and then it just turns into Frosted Flakes.
Right. So let's go through. And Cheerios are heart healthy. Cheerios are heart healthy.
Or at least that's what is it General Mills wants you to think that
something like
that they're heart healthy. All right, Mike. So go ahead and give the shout outs for who voted for what and which cereal.
We had 18 votes on this one, Rich.
Wow.
So we're gonna start off with me on Cheerios. Beth Hoffman, Pam Hendricks, Brian Downing, AJ Hendricks, Kenneth John Bailey, Danielle Hart, Rich W. Hendricks, Josh Couture, Mikey O'Roderer, Kelly Smith Carr, Valerie Hauser, and Nathan Ross, all voting for Cheerios. That's 13, by the way, which means that Cheerios won. Cornflakes with 5 votes. I'm amazed there's that many votes for Cornflakes. You had Kayla Nielsen, Jordan Stroop, Solomon Stroop, Jeffrey Stroop. Them Stroop boys must love their cornflakes. And Ron Lehmans. Now, if you voted for it because when you think of cornflakes, you think of cornflakes on top of things, that makes sense.
It does. It does.
But Cheerios just taste better. Now, I was going to ask you, have you ever had what we called toasted Cheerios?
I don't think I've had toasted Cheerios. Describe them for me.
So you melt butter, you pour it over, and then you put it in the microwave for like 30 seconds. They taste good. They're fun. They're a yummy snack.
All right. No, I don't think I've had toasted Cheerios before.
Okay.
All right, Mike. So next week we will go to more of the hot side of the more the entree side of the breakfast food poll side of the bracket, and we're going to go with oatmeal versus biscuits and gravy.
Wow, you put oatmeal as a entree.
Yes, well, it's kind of weird. I mean, it's kind of it's
is
not
it cereal?
but
it is cereal.
It's not cereal. I don't think of it as cereal. You got to warm it up.
But the best way to eat the little grape nuts.
Grape nuts.
The best way to eat that is to heat it up too. The only real way I've ever been able to find to eat them. But you forgot about that cereal, didn't you?
I did. I'm gonna have to find a way to work it into the poll.
But yeah, so
I'll work it into the poll.
Okay, so look for that to go live today sometime, and we'll get it shared out on all of our social media. All of our Facebook. That's the only social media I do anymore. I quit using Twitter because was it just me, or when they changed to X, did they just start spamming you every single thing, and it was suggestions, and you barely got any?
I haven't been on Twitter at all. It's still Twitter, or X as they're calling it now. It still makes me weird that it's still X, but they still got to say it's formerly Twitter. It's like, then why'd you rebrand?
Yeah, they had a good brand going, and then But either way, like I haven't been on it since that happened because I was getting spammed and it was just dumb. So I quit watching and it was fine. So yeah, let's head over to the gridiron this week. We're gonna spend a lot of time here, because we got a lot to talk about. This is a great point. Thanksgiving is one of those points in the season to kind of reflect, see how teams are doing, see what teams are making moves and moving. Like, by making moves, I mean starting to play better and look better. So we're going to start off with our results of last week. Then we're going to give you our power rankings.
Yep.
And after our power rankings, we'll do the standings, and then we'll do Week 11 picks so that we can get to that. So, first and foremost, and we'll also give you the results of this last Thursday night game. Any results we have first, we'll go first. First, let's head into our locks of the week. Rich, you picked the Cowboys over the Giants. The Cowboys pulled it off. Not only pulled it off, made it a beating at 49-17 in favor of the Cowboys. Giants did have their third string quarterback in. That brings yours to 5-5. Rich, how'd I do?
Yeah, with the Cowboys Giants game, with it being 49, they were already at the 40 over 40 points, and the Giants hadn't scored much. I was kind of disappointed that the Fox network didn't change over to one of the other games that they had
Yeah.
access to.
Yeah.
But I know the Fox loves
The boys.
the Dallas the
America's team.
America's team, so they would never flex them out or go to another game that might be more
They
competitive.
did. They actually did at like the 2-minute mark.
But that game was over way before the 2 minute
Oh,
mark.
yeah.
So go
Oh,
to
yeah.
another game unless you're in the Dallas market.
Yeah. Okay.
And in the Dallas and the New York City metroplex. All right.
Next we got to talk about Monday Night Football.
Yeah. You went with the Bills over the Broncos.
Yeah.
And the Broncos won 24-22. And you are also at 5-5, Mike.
Can we
you
talk about
actually
this
went
game?
through and called. Oh yeah, you went out of your way and called me
Okay.
just to voice some stuff about this game, Mike. So go ahead and share with the folks
So
what you're
at
talking
halftime, and maybe if you are a rules expert, maybe we can have you on. But at halftime, the Broncos did this cheetah switch, is what they call it. It's a quick switch from their offense to their kicking team.
Okay.
They did it in less than 10 seconds, maybe 15. And then they snapped the ball real quick with 5 seconds left to go and got a last-second field goal in the first half. Why weren't the Bills allowed to change out their team?
I don't know. I
Substi-
wasn't watching the game because I
Substitutions-
didn't have any interest in this matchup.
If the offense subs, the defense gets a chance to sub out, correct?
Yes, I believe so.
Okay. Then why weren't the Bills allowed to sub out? Like I've asked a half a dozen people this. Nobody can answer it for me. It's to the point where I almost want to call in like one of the call-in shows and be like, "Hey, did you guys not catch? Did nobody catch this? Why is nobody asking about this?"
Well, I think
Because-
I remember being brought up as something of like when they were discussing how the Bills fired their offensive coordinator, Ken Dorsey, and they brought it up. Well, but he's just taking the fall. He's the scapegoat for this, but it's not his fault. It's not on him that you didn't swap out and make a sub when they were going into that field goal formation, or
Yeah.
that the players are dropping balls, or that Josh Allen is the one throwing the interceptions.
By the way, at the end of the game, they did the same thing. Now, the Bills apparently subbed in and subbed out because they had too many men on the field. And at that point, I felt no guilt for them. I was upset because I was going to lose my upset of the week, or my lock of the week. But the fact of the matter is the Bills swapped out and added an extra guy, 12 men on the field for a game-finishing field goal that was no good.
Yep, that got the Broncos closer, and they got to retry the kick.
At that point, the Bills deserved to lose that game. Like, legitimately, I just think they deserved to lose that game at that point. But the fact that it was so bad, I'm sitting here like, what happened?
Yeah, I mean, the offensive coordinator lost his job because of this game, whether he deserved it or not. But I think at this point, I think it's gonna take. I don't think Sean McDermott's gonna be back in Buffalo next year if they miss the playoffs, or even if they lose in round one, because they're a team that's regressing. They went from being a Super Bowl favorite to now they're 5-5 and may miss the playoffs.
Yeah.
Because of how the offense is, because of the product on the field.
Yeah. Yeah. I can't anymore. Like, terrible play.
And they're still a good football team. I don't know what happened.
They have great talent. So, okay, let's move on to our upsets of the week. Rich, you picked the Cardinals over the Falcons. The Cardinals pulled it off 25-23, bringing you to 7-3 on the season. Rich, I picked the Jaguars over the Niners, and boy, did they screw that one up. 34-3, biggest blowout of the week, and yet not the biggest blowout of the year, by the way.
No, not the biggest blowout of the year. I thought it was a little suspect when you said Jaguars over the Niners as an upset, but I mean, in fairness, I mean the Niners were coming off a 3-game losing streak,
Yeah,
but coming off of the bye, and the Jaguars are kind of a hot. Well, they could be seen as a hot team, or this could have been a good statement win for them.
yeah,
But
yeah.
San Francisco, I think, looks like they're back on track after coming out of the bye. That drops you down to 5-5. Mike, we had no Bears game because they played Thursday night
Last week, yes.
last week. So that matchup was covered on last week's show. But Mike, Thursday night football, Ravens, Bengals. It was 34-20 Ravens.
Yep.
We both got this wrong. I dropped to 9-2 on Thursday night. Mike, you were 7-4.
I would argue injuries. If we would have known Joe Burrow was out for the week, or was going to be out,
supposedly nursing a wrist injury that was never reported on
anything.
On anything. So the Bengals got that, are in trouble. Could face some penalties for that, for not reporting an injury.
And then on top of it, he's now out for the season.
Yeah, that's a tough blow for those Bengals. As I think that's even with this loss and no Joe Burrow, I think that their playoff hopes, their playoff run are done.
By the way, speaking of teams that lost their quarterbacks, good riddance to the professional sexual assaulter, part-time football player Deshaun Watson, out for the season. Good riddance.
Yep, he's the dislocated shoulder. He finally, I guess he re-injured it enough that he's not going to play through the injury anymore.
Yeah.
That's got to be big blow to them, as now you're seeing a bunch of posts and stories about, was that the worst trade in NFL history, just looking at it from a production standpoint, as he doesn't have a winning record when he's on the field with Cleveland, and he hasn't really elevated the team to being what they were hoping to get out of him when they gave up those 3 first-round picks and the guaranteed contract they gave him.
What's crazy is this week, the NFC North, coming into this week, the NFC North had all 5 teams were above 500. Last week, all 5 teams going into this playoff week. So the Bengals were the lowest team at 5-4. Everybody else had greater, or they were at 5-4. Everybody else was either 6-3 or 7-3, because the Bengals haven't had their bye week yet. And so everybody's sitting like that. They were the hot division, and looked like if the playoffs had started this week, which obviously we know they wouldn't, but if they would have started this week, all 4 of those teams would have been eligible and would have made the playoffs. No longer the case. And the big kicker, with those 2 injuries, we will likely see those 2 teams fall off a cliff, making it the Steelers and the Ravens as the only teams really vying for that position. Mm-hmm. And we'll talk about that a little bit more in a second, but just crazy things to look at when you're talking the difference a week makes for an entire division now. So, Rich, before we actually get into our power rankings and our standings check, let's talk about our Yahoo Pick'ems as we
I got it. So yeah, so week number 10, the top picker was Captain Rory with 10 points. He took first
Nice.
place all by himself. Mike, I was tied for second with Troy with 9 picks. Mike, you brought up the rear as you only had 5 correct picks for the year, for that week. Full standings, Mike. Captain Rory is in first with 99 points. I'm in second with 94. Zach Borchers is in third with 91. Mike, you're in fourth with 85. Fields of Dreams has 83, sitting in fifth. Troy is sixth with 81. Mr. Nichols has 48. And CS Picks has 11, as I think we lost the CS Picks.
Yeah, I don't know who that CS Picks is. I was trying to figure out, but
Yep. So keep making sure to update those picks on a weekly basis, as injuries have now played could really change how you would actually want to pick those games if you set it all the way back in week 1 and went all the way to week number 18.
Yep.
And hit the save button.
So, Rich,
always update them.
are you ready for some power rankings?
Yes, sir. We've kind of been putting this on the back burner, kicking the can down the road a little bit, so we've had other things to talk about.
Yep.
So yeah, I'm ready to talk power rankings. So you want to start 1 through 10, or do you want to start at the bottom 5?
Let's start 1 through 10.
Okay.
That did not go the way that it was supposed to. Wait, what?
All right. So my number 1 team, Mike, the only team, I gotta give it to the team that has the best record. I put the Philadelphia Eagles here.
Hang on, I gotta fix some things.
And obviously, how they stay at number 1 will depend on the outcome of their game with the Kansas City Chiefs on Monday Night Football this week. So it's great that you got a Super Bowl matchup between two teams that could be right back in the Super Bowl this year in the regular season. But with the best record in football, I had to give the Eagles the top spot.
Yeah, I agree 100%. The Eagles deserve the top spot, so I also have the Eagles at number 1. They just have been the best team so far this year. Yeah. At number 2, Rich, by the way, the ELO and the power rankings all agree. Number 1 for the Eagles. Number 2, I have the Kansas City Chiefs. They've had a couple stumbles, but nothing makes me think that they've fallen flat on their face yet. So I have the Kansas City Chiefs there. I will tell you that the ELO and the power rankings both agree. Rich, what do you think?
I'm going to make it 4 for 4. I also put the Chiefs there. So their loss to the Broncos was really bad, but it's still only 2 losses.
Yeah.
And so
if the Broncos
they have been playing a tougher schedule than the other team that's sitting at 7-2 as well.
And if the Broncos continue to win, that loss doesn't look as terrible. So, okay, Rich, who do you have at number 3?
You know what, Mike? At number 3, I put the Baltimore Ravens. I mean, the Browns, they had that loss to the Browns, but you know what? It's hard to predict what happens in those divisional matchups. And it was still a good come-from-behind victory for the Brownies. So that's why I kept them at 3. I think I had them at 2 last week, so they got bumped down to 3 because of that loss.
Okay, the power rankings agree with you. However, I do not, and that's because I put the Detroit Lions here.
All right, I have the Lions at 4, and the reason why I don't have the Lions higher, even though they have a better record because they haven't had a bye week yet, is it just comes down to the Ravens have a tougher schedule than the Lions.
Okay, and I can give you that. By the way, the ELO thinks the San Francisco 49ers are still number 3.
Ooh. Okay, Mike. Yeah. So who do you have at number 4?
Number 4, I have the Baltimore Ravens.
Okay.
again, great. Like we're not that far off on that. By the way, the power rankings agree with me that the San Francisco Niners deserve, or that they think that the San Francisco 49ers. Wait, the power rankings thinks the 49ers should be at 4, and the ELO thinks that the Cincinnati Bengals. Now, this is pre-Thursday, which both of our rankings were as well.
Yes.
But the Bengals is number 3 for the ELO. Okay.
Yeah.
Or
so
number
that
4.
was and also the ELO takes into account previous seasons.
Yeah.
As well. It's not just what's going on this season. So, Mike, who do you have at number 5?
Number 5, I have the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Okay, I have the San Francisco 49ers. Here.
Okay. That's and again, I don't think that's a bad pick. I think that the Jaguars, again, this last week, I probably watching the way that the Niners beat up on the Jaguars, I should have put him lower. But man, I think that the Jags look good this year, and I might be riding that a little harder than I should. By the way,
I have Jacksonville a little bit lower, and I'll get why I have them where I have them once I get down that far.
At number 5, the ELO has the Baltimore Ravens, and at number 5, the power rankings have the Detroit Lions. At number 6, the power rankings have the Dallas Cowboys, along with the ELO. Rich, who do you have at number 6?
I'm going to make it 3 for 3, as I also have the Cowboys at number 6.
I'm going to be the dissenting voice, as this is where I put the San Francisco 49ers.
All right, so right around in the same neighborhood.
Yep.
So you might have the Jaguars a little higher than probably the ELO and the power rankings and myself, but the Cowboys, when they've won big, but they just can't seem to beat the good teams.
Yep.
So it just comes down to, for me, really 6 through 10. It's looking at, all right, who have they lost to? So it's really hard to gauge on their wins. So it's coming down to me who they've lost to, and have those games been close losses, or have they been blowouts?
Yeah. No, I get it. That one makes sense.
Losses. So that's why I put the Cowboys at 6.
That makes sense. Rich, how about number 7? I have the Cleveland Browns.
All right. I do have the Browns in my top 10, but not up this far.
Okay.
I might have adjusted when I heard the news. I might be ranking them looking ahead to their future. Might have impacted their ranking in my list right now.
And that did come out early in the week, so it's not surprising that the Deshaun Watson thing played into your rankings. I didn't let it do it this week. It will next week, though, for sure.
Okay, so I put the Miami Dolphins here at number 7.
Okay.
So once again, they've had some dominating victories, but they just can't get the wins over winning teams that they have been unable to beat the Bills, the Eagles, and the Chiefs. But the Eagles and the Chiefs are 1-2, so not a lot of teams have beat them either.
Yeah.
So I didn't count those losses against them too much. So I kept them at number 7.
Okay. Number 7 for the ELO, it's the Buffalo Bills. And again, I find that a little high. Number 7 for the power rankings is the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Yep. Okay.
At number 8, the power rankings have the Cincinnati Bengals.
Okay.
Who do you have at 8, Rich?
8 is where I have the Jaguars. So for me, it was looking at Cowboys, Dolphins, Jaguars, all similar records.
Yep.
They all haven't been able to get that big signature win against good teams.
Yep.
So that's why I put Jacksonville here.
Okay, so
at number 8. And I think that if you had to play head to head, it was Dolphins, Jaguars, or Dolphins, Cowboys, or looking at Dallas, Miami, Jacksonville. If there was some sort of combination where they were playing against each other, I'd probably pick the Cowboys in a weird 3-way matchup out of those teams. So I think Jacksonville's just looking at their body of work from those three teams, I think the Cowboys have had a better season.
This is where I have the Cowboys at number 8. I think that the Cowboys, to me, have very underperformed their games for me. There were a couple games that I thought they should have won that they didn't. But also, it's the Cowboys.
Yeah.
The number 8 spot for ELO. This is the Detroit Lions. Now, this is really rough because, like you said earlier, the ELO goes based off of the past performance. For the last 20 years, Rich, in the last 20 years, how many times have you had the Lions as part of your top 10?
I haven't.
Right.
They've probably been more of a team that's been associated with being in the bottom 10.
Right.
Probably in the bottom 10. Even I think last year they were starting to creep up to where you were starting to see them in the high teens.
Right.
But they weren't in the top 10 yet.
They hadn't broken the top 10 until this year. In my recent memory, by the way, when I say recent, I mean 20 years. So why would what would I expect from them?
Yeah, that's tough. So, Mike, I gotta step away just real quick. I'm getting the beeping tone in my headset, so I've got to go get my wired headset. So I will let you stretch it out just a bit to see who you have at number 9. Be right back.
Yeah. So at my number 9, So first, before we get to the number 9, I'm going to talk about where I have my number, or where the ELO ends up their number 9. Number 9 for the ELO is the Minnesota Vikings. Number 9 for the power rankings is the Cleveland Browns. And my number 9, this is where I finally put the Miami Dolphins. Now, the Miami Dolphins, I'm still waiting for Tua to get hurt. Like, legitimately, I don't know when Tua is going to be unhurt. When he's going to be hurt. And you are sitting on a knife's edge waiting for this to happen. As soon as it does, we all know Tua Tagovailoa goes to garbage. Or the team goes to garbage without Tua Tagovailoa. I understand that this is how do they look now, and that's where I should be with it. But I can't get past the fact that Tua is waiting to get hurt. And if Tua is waiting to get hurt, then why would I expect that? Why would I have Miami Dolphins any higher than I absolutely have to? I think they are the lowest of those teams, and I can't give it. I can't put them above number 9 for the Miami Dolphins. Rich.
All right.
Number 10, I have the Minnesota Vikings.
Okay.
And this last week was the reason why. They've been improving. They look better. They're starting to get things on point. You missed that's where the power rankings, or the ELO has them at number 9, and the power rankings have the Vikings at number 10. Who do you have at number 10?
All right, Mike. So I got to give you my number 9 team, too.
Oh, I thought you gave that. Sorry.
No, my number 9 team is this is where I put the Cleveland Browns.
Okay.
That they, if anything, with having to play a backup, and now with having to play a different quarterback coming in for Deshaun Watson and winning off the strength of their defense.
Yeah.
Knowing that Deshaun Watson isn't going to be able to come back.
Yeah.
And now trusting Dorian Thompson-Robinson, a rookie out of UCLA, to step in there, or going back to PJ Walker, that they're still going. They're going to be tested. So I chose. This is where I moved them. I think I may have had them like in the 7 or 8 range, but I chose to adjust it based off of looking into the future. And number 10, Mike, is where I put the Houston Texans. They've had some
I
good
like that.
come from behind victories, good victories over teams you didn't think that they would beat.
I like
They would
that.
beat.
Um,
So that's why I mean that come from behind win against Joe Burrow and the Bengals was a big reason on why I bumped him all the way up to the top when I moved him into the top 10.
now,
So that's my top 10. So Mike, you were mentioned you got two teams in the top 10. Um,
I have one team in the
the-
top 10 that you don't.
all right. So you put the Vikings up to 10, correct?
Yes.
All right. So I have the Minnesota Vikings at 13.
Okay.
But I'm sure that they are going to be moving up because the Bengals are going to be moving down.
Yeah,
'Cause with
yeah.
the Bengals not having probably going down the rankings with Joe Burrow out. I have the Bengals at 12 right now.
I have the Bengals down at 15.
All right. So 15 is where I have the Buffalo Bills.
I have them at 13.
Because I mean,
But yeah, the Bills.
losing games the way they have,
Yeah.
losing games to a Patriots team that's in the bottom 5, to a Broncos team that's starting to look a little better, but how they lost that game really
Bad decision
caused
making.
me to move them down,
Yeah.
them down on the rankings.
Yeah. So, Rich, let's find where we have. Let's go to our bottom 5, starting at 27.
At 27.
So we're gonna go to
Mike,
26. We're gonna bottom 6.
Okay, bottom 6. This is where I put the Green Bay Packers.
I agree. That's why I wanted to do this, because this way
Okay.
we get all of the North. I'm assuming. Don't get me wrong. I know what happens when you assume, but I don't think the Bears are better than the Green Bay Packers. So I actually have the Packers at 27 as well. They don't look good. They look like they need to figure out different things and do different things. So this is where I have the Packers. What do you have for 28, Rich? Oh, by the way,
That's right.
the ELO puts at 27. The ELO has the Atlanta Falcons, and in the power rankings, the Tennessee Titans end up at 27. The Green Bay Packers end up at 24 and 19. 24 for the power rankings, 19 for the ELO.
Well, at 28, starting the bottom 5, I put the Chicago Bears. They're 3-7, so they have the best record out of those bottom 5 teams.
The power
And-
rankings agree. The ELO, however, has them at 29.
All right. I mean, I'm really looking forward to seeing what the Bears may do with Justin Fields back under center, and I really hope that they give him a fair shot to prove that he can be the quarterback moving forward.
Yeah.
I mean, I'd hate to see the cycle continue of new coaching staff inheriting a quarterback, yet them deciding, nope, it's not going to work out, and then drafting a quarterback of their own. But the Bears have needs at other spots along the roster if they wanted to pick up the option for Justin Fields to see if a third coaching staff can finally unlock that potential and take the offense to play the way everybody thinks they can.
By the way, the problem here is that I have is we'll get there. But if the Bears do end up with the number 1 overall pick by trading the Panthers,
By the trade with the Panthers, yes.
what other position do you go for?
You trade that pick, Mike.
They did that last year. How many times can you trade this pick and be wrong?
Darnell Wright actually has played pretty well, though. I think that I think he could be a good building block for the team moving forward. So, but yeah, you're right. Would you potentially want to trade another draft pick and then see that guy flourish with a new organization?
Like, it feels good this year to have that number 1 pick that we traded because the pick that they picked at number 1 isn't flourishing. But, man.
But I don't know, Mike. I mean, right now, Caleb Williams really hasn't played well up against other ranked teams.
Yeah.
So is that gonna follow him to the NFL?
Yeah.
How'd the last quarterback we drafted out of the University of North Carolina work out? And Michael Penix is playing in the Pac-12. The Pac-12 about to be the Pac-2. So how much would you draft Michael Penix is he good enough to be the number 1 overall pick?
No.
Or could you pick him up with your draft pick?
Yeah.
That's still going to be in the top 5.
Okay, but let's go with the Cardinals gonna pick up a quarterback. Giants probably won't.
Maybe they won't draft a quarterback if Kyler Murray plays well down the stretch, just like
The Patriots
may decide that the Patriots are going to do a quarterback. They're benching Mac Jones.
Yeah.
But yeah, the Patriots are a candidate to draft a quarterback. The Falcons, although their draft pick might not, I don't know if I'd want to slide down far enough to give them the pick. The Raiders might draft a quarterback with a new regime coming in.
I don't see it anymore in trading. I don't see the trade down benefits right now. But
I do, but yeah, you want to see what the actual draft board is going to look like, and you won't know that till week number 18.
Yep. Okay.
All right, Mike. So number 29. Where do the
power rankings
have them?
Power rankings has the Patriots, the Bears are the ELO, and I agree with the power rankings.
All right, this is where I put the Arizona Cardinals, and I think if they continue to play better with Kyler Murray under center, they're probably going to work their way up the rankings as well. And also, the better they play, the better the Bears pick could get if they also continue to win with Justin Fields under center.
Yep.
If they are able to win.
Yep.
So number 30, Mike, is where I put the New England Patriots.
Man, did you?
And I think they're.
When was the last time you had them that bad?
I know. I think they're just as bad as the Giants, but this is where I had to look at, all right, who have those two teams beaten? The Patriots have beaten the Jets and the Bills. The Giants have beaten the Cardinals and the Commanders.
See, I overlook the Bills because it's a divisional game. That's the reason. I get it, but it's still a divisional game, so it makes it a little less lucrative for me. But I have 30 is where I have the New York Football Giants.
Okay.
The ELO agrees with, or the power rankings agree with me, and the ELO also agrees with me.
Okay.
So
I put the New York Football Giants at 31.
Okay.
They're not getting any better with that. Now they're on their third quarterback, and I don't see that third quarterback being able to make a difference.
And I will just tell you right now, the ELO agrees with me. The ELO and power rankings both agree with me on the next two, so I'm not even going to say it for the last one.
Okay.
But I have the Arizona Cardinals at 31. And at 32, okay, drum roll please, to no one's surprise, we all agree.
Okay.
All together now. The Carolina Panthers. Yeah, it is, man, train wreck after train wreck.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't watched any Panthers games, other than I think I watched a quarter of that Bears-Panthers Thursday night game. But, I mean, it's still Bryce Young's first year, and they still got to put some talent around him to make that team better. So
yeah, no, I can agree with that, but still.
So I don't think it's time to say, well, Bryce Young was a bust as a number 1 overall pick, but
true.
I mean, C.J. Stroud is playing a lot better to where there was always that talk of Bryce Young was the forced pick because that's who the owner wanted. and the coaching staff was more leaning towards Stroud.
So here's my problem with that. 7 teams passed on Patrick Mahomes.
Mm-hmm.
Drafting is a science, but most people don't get it right. Only once in a while do you strike lightning. And when you're up there, when you are making swings, you got to take a chance. Bryce Young could still come out and be a great quarterback overall. You are correct. But man, how many times do we argue, well, Patrick, we drafted Measure Ridley on the same time. You know what? Hindsight is 20/20. Do you know how many teams had Mitch Trubisky in their top 5 picks? They were.
No.
He was looked at as a great quarterback. By the way, I think he probably could have been if he would have started if Andy Reid got a hold of him. I think he ends up being a better quarterback than what he was for the Bears or for anybody. And he gets that base under him. Let's go. Okay, let's move on because we are at like 45 minutes and we still have standings and week 11 picks. So Rich, are you ready for the standings check on our picks for the division?
I am. So
okay.
We'll start with the NFC East, Mike.
Okay, NFC East.
I went with the Eagles. You said the Cowboys.
So the Eagles are number 1 and the Cowboys are number 2. Cowboys would still make the playoffs.
Gotcha. The NFC North, Mike, we both said the Vikings would be winning that division.
The Vikings are 6-4 in second place behind the 7-2 Lions.
All right, Mike. Going into the South, I said the Falcons. You get the Saints.
The Saints are at number 1 at 5-5. The Falcons are at 4-6, right behind the Buccaneers.
All right. And the West, we both said the Niners.
And the Niners are number 1, but they are tied with Seattle.
All right, Mike. And Mike, right now, if the playoffs were to start today, and of course those standings do include Thursday Night Football's results, who would be the 3 wild card teams in the NFC?
The boys, the Seahawks, and the Vikings.
All right. So, Mike, I went with the Cowboys, the Lions, and the Seahawks.
Yep.
Mike, you went with the Eagles, the Bears, and the Seahawks.
Yeah, the Bears are not in it by any way, shape, or form. The Seahawks but again, you and I flopped the Cowboys and the Eagles for division and wild card. That's all we did. I only have one team that doesn't make it currently, and that's the Cowboys. That's the Bears. But I knew that was going to be the case.
Yeah, and I only have one team that's not making the playoffs right now, as the Falcons are not in the picture.
Yeah. Okay.
All right, Mike, going over to the AFC East, Mike, we both said that the Bills would be winning this division.
Yeah, that is not the case currently. Currently, it is the Dolphins, and the Bills are at 500.
All right. So, the North, we both said the Bengals.
Yeah, they are sitting at the bottom at 500. By the way, they're sitting at the bottom at 500. How crazy.
Yeah. So they would be tied for first in the NFC South.
Yes.
But instead they're in a tough division with Pittsburgh, Cleveland,
and Baltimore.
Baltimore's leading that division currently?
Correct.
Okay. In the South, Mike, I said the Jaguars. You went with the Titans.
The Titans are in the bottom, and the Jags are actually at the top.
Okay. And then the West, we both said the Chiefs.
And that holds true. Okay, Rich, the wild card right now, and I'm doing this in my head on the fly, would be the Steelers, the Browns, and the Texans, only because they've had a bye.
Okay, so Mike, we put the Chargers, the Jets, and the Ravens, and Mike, you went with Chargers, Jets, and Dolphins.
The Dolphins are in. The Ravens, or the Chargers are not. The Dolphins win the division. The Chargers don't. And what was my third team?
You went with the Jets. You had Chargers, Jets, Dolphins.
Yeah, and Jets are out too. So, yeah, all three, man, rough. Okay, Rich, let's get to week 11 for our picks, our locks of the week. The locks of the week. I am going to go with, and I'm changing it, Rich.
Oh, right.
I talked myself out of it.
I was hoping that you would. I was hoping that you would.
I talked myself out of it. Who are
you going to go with?
I am going to go with the Miami. Oh, wait, you picked Miami. Sorry. You picked Miami. So I will go with Houston over Arizona.
I like that pick a little bit more than the Bills over the Jets, but I think this Cardinals team is going to be a better with Kyler Murray under center than they have been with Clayton Tune or Josh Dobbs.
Yeah.
But the Texans still look like they're a hot team right now.
Prove that C.J. Stroud is not the best quarterback in that game.
Yeah. All right, so you mentioned it. I'm taking the Dolphins over the Raiders.
Yeah.
So whether they're running the ball or passing the ball, I think that they're going to cool off the Raiders, who are coming into Miami with a 2-game winning streak.
Okay, Rich, you talked me out of it. I'm going to change it one more time.
Oh, you switch it one more time.
One
okay.
more time.
Last call.
You know this hurts
Last
me to
call.
do this, right?
Okay, who are you picking, Mike?
The Dallas Cowboys over the Carolina Panthers.
You know what, Mike? You sometimes you got to take the easy, the no doubt easy ones to get back on track. On track. So yeah, I like that one a lot better. Dallas has a great defense, and even if their offense sputters a little bit, they can still get a win down in Charlotte. Mike, who you putting on upset alert?
Upset alert. I am gonna pick the Rams over Seattle.
Okay, a divisional game.
Yeah.
Divisional game.
I think so. On upsets, I think you can pick the opposite. I think picking divisional games and upsets is a good pick. I think picking divisionals and locks are terrible picks.
Okay, so yeah, I don't mind it though. I mean they're coming off a bye, so they've had a time to kind of regroup and get Matthew Stafford healthy, and yeah, it's a divisional game. I like it. So, Mike, I'm going to go with the Monday night Super Bowl rematch, and I'm going to go Eagles over the Chiefs. I think it should more be an even match.
Yeah.
But by our rules, it is an upset as the Chiefs have 58 and the Eagles are in the 40 percentile.
I think you're right. I think it should be closer to 49-51 at best, if not a straight pick 'em. So Thursday, we have tons of Thursday football to talk about. You didn't.
No, we do have a Bears game.
We do have a Bears game,
as it is Bears Lions this week.
Yep, I forgot about the Bears Lions. The Lions.
Yeah. Yep. I'm going with the Lions as well. So, yeah, the game's in Detroit.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't really have a reason. I think it's going to be a better game with Justin Fields, but it's still his first game back.
We still have Eberflus allowing the offensive coordinator to call plays, and it's going to be terrible. So then we're going to move to the Thursday night of Thanksgiving. Thursday has 3 games. Remember, CBS at 11:30. You're going to have the Packers Lions. Which one are you taking, Rich?
I'm going to go Detroit.
Detroit's going to get some turducken for me, too. Fox has Commanders, Cowboys. Who you got there?
I got to go with the boys. I mean, the game's going to be in Dallas, and the Commanders, while they're playing better than a lot of people thought they would be, the Cowboys got to get the win.
Ron Rivera wants some turducken. He's going to get him some turducken. Let's go, Commanders. And then finally, 49ers, Seahawks. on NBC. I'm picking the Niners.
I'm going to go with the 49ers too. I could still see this game going either way, but the Niners just I think the Niners are a better football team, but the division rivalry and the game being in Seattle, I could see the Seahawks pulling it off.
Yeah. So
but it's not to a point that I would want to pick against it though.
Yeah. Any other football talk before we head into our quick hits?
Quick hits? No, I really don't.
Okay. So Vegas is in the news a lot this week as Major League Baseball has approved the Oakland A's to move to Vegas, meaning that Oakland is the first city in history to have all 4 major sports pull a franchise from that city.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if I would still count the Warriors leaving to go across the bay to San Francisco, since they always identified as the Golden State Warriors, not the Oakland Warriors. But yeah, the Warriors.
Did they move cities?
The Warriors did technically move cities.
Okay.
But yeah, I mean, this is still a tough one for me. There's so much history with the A's, but it's not the first time that they've moved, as they've jumped. They jumped ship from Philly to Kansas City, and then Kansas City to Oakland.
Yeah. They realized they couldn't go much further west, so now it's time to start making the moves back east. They'll start in Vegas, then they'll move to OKC, and then they'll move to Savannah.
I don't know.
No, the Bananas are a better team.
It's tough for the A's. I mean, I think Vegas would have been better off getting an expansion team.
Yeah.
Than a team relocating, and the fact that they don't know where they're going to play while they wait for this brand new stadium to be built is
terrible.
A little bit terrible. Are they going to?
In the words of Charles Barkley, this is TRBL terrible.
So yeah, I mean, supposedly they're going to honor the last year of their lease at the Oakland Coliseum and play a lame duck year in Oakland. You thought the booze and the sell the team and the low attendance was bad this year? Look, it's going to be terrible next year.
By the way, you want to go? You want to just buy season tickets and we can go to every take the year off. I'm sure we could get them for what, $100?
I don't know if you go that low, but you could easily buy the worst seats in the house
and
then still probably
sit behind home plate.
Still sit behind home plate because there's nobody's going to be there.
They're gonna block off the seat. We're gonna buy the top. Rich, you and I should buy season tickets up at the top. Get the notification that we have to move down because they're blocking those seats now, and we move down, and then get the notification they're blocking those seats, so we have to move down again and get all the way down to the first level.
Yeah, I'm sure that you could do that even if you bought a single game ticket to go out to.
Who wants to go out to
see a team?
I mean, I got no problems doing it. I'm really bummed that I don't have a way to get out there easily, because the Coliseum, as much as it's a turd of a facility, let's be honest, it is past its prime and needs to be retired. We can all agree on that, right?
Oh yeah.
Right. But it is the Oakland Coliseum. It would have been great to have gotten to see a game there. I mean, there are stadiums I've gotten to see games in that don't exist anymore, and I wish the Coliseum would be one of them.
All right. So the other thing that's gotten Vegas in the news is the Las Vegas Grand Prix Formula One race.
And the big news about it, the biggest headline that I've seen so far, a manhole cover gets jarred loose, and we now it damaged a car and took a guy out and closed down the first round of practice. So, yeah.
I did not see that. The one thing that's kind of got me scratching my head about it is that, do you know what time this race is going to start, Mike?
It's 10 o'clock their time, midnight our time.
Mike. Midnight.
Our time, yeah.
Yeah, midnight. So
yeah. So, Rich, where are the vast majority of Formula One fans.
They're in Europe.
At UK, most of Europe, some in the Middle East. They want to. I mean, what time do games in Germany start?
By all means, they are trying to appeal to their broadest audience. It just seems to a weird start time for me, for where you're staging the race, to be kind of weird. Kind of be an odd start time to start at 10 o'clock at night.
Yep.
But Vegas does have a lot of neon lights, and it's a city that's known for, you go there,
stuff to do all day,
late
all
nights.
Yeah.
Late nights. So maybe it's not as weird. I'm gonna see if I can figure out how to tape on YouTube TV to maybe watch the race sometime on Sunday or later on, because I don't think I would want to watch it live since it's gonna start at midnight.
I might watch a little bit of it, but not a ton. Okay, spoiler alert! Spoiler alert! Spoiler alert! Spoiler alert! Spoiler alert! Blah, 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 blah. We're going to talk about The Masked Singer. If you don't want to listen to The Masked Singer talk, it's been great having you around. Check us out on Facebook.com/Balls and Six and Fans of Balls and Six if you want to participate in our poll questions. If you want to see us live and get notifications, hit that subscribe button that sign up for notifications button on YouTube, on Facebook. If you don't want to watch us live, but you want to listen to us in the car while you drive, Rich, where should they go?
Look us up wherever you find your podcasts. Apple, Spotify, YouTube podcasts or downloads.
YouTube Music.
Radio, just to name a few.
Okay, let's get into it. This week was Trolls Night, and I was a little disappointed they didn't reveal who was in the Trolls costume. I think it just was pre-recorded voices, and they had people dancing in the costume, so I don't think it really mattered. But the bigger thing is we got a new singer. Great night. Everybody did great except for one, and I think it's the new guy came in, the Cuddle Monster.
Yeah, the Cuddle Monster.
Which 20 years ago, if you would have called him the Cuddle Monster, he would have punched you in the face.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Ron Artest or Meta World Peace.
Yeah.
I did like it that they were more highlighting what he did with the Lakers as a great defensive player than never mentioned anything that he did in regards to the malice at the Palace when he was a member of the Pacers.
But he also played for the Bulls.
Yep, he did play for the Bulls for a little while, and they did reference that in the Clue Pack.
Right, and so here's the thing. It seems like he is on a quest right now to rectify his name. I don't know if you've noticed this, but over the last few years, he's been doing things to make himself better, including the documentary "The Malice at the Palace." Did you see it? Have you seen any of it?
I did watch the Netflix docuseries about it.
And do you feel like do you look at the players as less of, like, what they did was still wrong? There's no way they should not acknowledge that what they did was wrong. But they seemed to be provoked quite a bit.
Oh, yeah.
And it seemed like it was blown out of proportion more than it was. Like, it was still a riot at the Palace, don't get me wrong. But there were things that were still being done, and I'm not... Yeah. So... But either way, Ron Artest, the Cuddle Monster, by far and away the worst. He went against the Anteater in the SmackDown, and it wasn't even a contest. Man, these three, the Anteater, the Candelabra, and the donut, these guys are great. All three of them. Like, I know that they had to put someone in there, right? You have to put someone in the bottom two. But it wasn't even a contest. And the Anteater still is good. I think he was the weakest of the best three. But yeah, I think the same results happened 2 weeks in a row, and I think it was right. So
Okay. So who had your favorite? Who was your favorite performance of the night?
The donut.
Yeah, I'd have to agree. I like the donut best too.
I like the donut. So, okay. Finally, a quick update on esports. I mean, I put it all over Facebook. My guys, that team did great. The state championship was amazing. The drive down was long, and the drive back was even longer. We ended up taking second in state. We went to the finals. It was that team that we played, a completely different team than we played third week of the season, and they were the better team yesterday. We did great. My guys didn't lose a match until that final game of the year. I guess that's the only one that matters. But my guys are amazing. Heads held high. We get to raise a banner and have a great time. So that is the update. Rocket League starts next week, and so yeah, it's gonna be crazy.
All right. So yeah, congratulations to the Ojiboji Pioneers.
Yep. Okay, with that, Rich, what's it time to do?
Mike, why don't you go ahead and roll that outro?
Broadcasting live from somewhere in Iowa. This is Balls and Sticks, the podcast with your hosts, Mike and Rich.